God, you are too much sometimes. That's it. There you go. Stop that. Oh God, you okay, are so too much 5, 4.
Why have I got you twice?
3, 2, 1. Okay, we're now live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest edition of the boys from Bossk. You ask why I'm laughing, you'll find out soon enough. It's been a very exciting day because me and the big Dave, we went out and we watched 10. What time did we go, Dave?
A really long time ago.
It was 10
11 o'clock.
no, 11:30. We went 11:30 to watch The Batman. Not Batman, The Batman. And it was an interesting journey, to say the least. I think today was the UK release. I think it got released in the States yesterday. And it's got a pretty stellar cast. It's the first outing as Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, as the Bruce Wayne, and also the first, well, obviously new star cast. None of them have been in any superhero films before, apart from somebody
Colin Farrell was.
Colin Farrell, what was he in?
Yeah, he was Bullseye. Or dead, yeah, Bullseye.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
He was in Daredevil, the movie with Ben Affleck.
Yeah, in Ben Affleck's other journey as
Patterson was a superhero.
Batman.
He was a vampire that glue in the sunlight.
That's not a superhero. That's just
a superpower really in my books.
Bad version of a vampire. But yeah. But anyway, so the Batman's just come out recently, starring Robert Pattinson, as you all know famously from Twilight. Some people might know him from Tenet. Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle. Jeffrey Wright stepping up as Lieutenant James Gordon, the first Batman to play Lieutenant Gordon. Although he's the first Batman to play Jim Gordon. You got Paul Dano playing the Riddler, John Turturro playing Carmine Falcone. Andy Serkis steps up as Alfred, and then you've got various other names in there who you probably know, you might not know. I think Peter Sarsgaard he's got loads of brothers. Jayme Lawson plays the mayor or prospective mayor of Gotham, and the rest of the people I don't really know. But yeah, it's quite.
I thought that was Russell Crowe at first.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, he looked like him. He looked like a fat Russell Crowe.
One person who doesn't look like themselves is Colin Farrell. Now, this film starts in a way I don't think many Batman films have started, by just not talking about the Wayne murders, and it gets right into Batman from the get-go. It's one thing I'll say about this film from the get-go. When people say it's dark, it's visually dark. Like it's
very visually dark.
Yeah, it's visually dark. And it's not as brutal, as far as I'm concerned, as people claiming it was. And not as brutal as the trailer makes out. Yeah, Batman hits hard, don't get me wrong, but it's more like it hits hard. You don't see it. It just like, there's a massive drum or heavy music every time it's beating people up. But I think Christian Bale's... What's that?
If you could see him beating him up.
Yeah, Christian Bale's Batman was a lot more brutal. I'm pretty sure Christian Bale's Batman proper broke some humans, whereas Robert Pattinson, I don't know, it's more like he was losing control at points. Now, being his first outing, I had my doubts because I think he's the youngest actor to play Batman in a long while. I think they may have been ones in the third of the original quartet of
Can't be
Batman
that
films.
young, surely. He's
Well,
got
I
to
think
be
he
in
may
his
be
late
the
30s now.
youngest actor, and there was a lot of questions because he apparently refused to bulk up and all sorts for the film. But you don't really notice in this because the Batman body armor is quite, it looks like
Quite repellent, as they say.
What's that?
It was quite repellent.
Really? You weren't a fan?
It blocked every bloody bullet going, didn't it?
Yeah, it was bulletproof armor, which is something that I think makes sense with Batman, because especially in this film, he's very methodical in the way he moves. He's very slow, not slow, but it's like each move.
A bit like the film.
We'll get to that. We'll get to you in a second, Dave.
No, I'm just putting my stuff in now.
And it was very methodical in the way he moves and very tight. And I think it works for this film. Now, like I said, the plot of this is basically opens with the Riddler, and the Riddler's on a mission. It's a different Riddler from what we've seen in other films. I think the last time the Riddler made it to the big screen was Jim Carrey in Batman Triumphant, wasn't it?
Forever.
Was it Batman Forever?
Yeah.
And this is a very different Riddler. He's more like
a gimp,
a creepy stalker. Yeah, more like a gimp. And the way my only issue with the Riddler is every time he was unrolling some tape, it was like he had to pose. Did you notice that? It was just like shh. He couldn't touch normal people. It was like shh. When he tapes a lot of people up, and he's basically trying to reveal a secret about Gotham and Gotham's history. And for some reason, I forget. No, I remember what it was. It doesn't end up being that big a deal, but there's some very key moments with him, and I think as a villain, I quite enjoyed the Riddler, although I think he could have been presented a bit better. And the lighting, I'm sorry, I know it's Batman, I know it's dark, but Jesus Christ, sometimes you literally can't see anything.
Even in the daytime, it was dark. There was like a gap of daylight in between the cracks of a bridge or something, and that was all the daylight you got.
And but I think overall as a villain, I think he's quite convincing, and his master plan's all right. As most villains go, it's not the worst plan I've ever seen. Don't quite get the scale of it by the end of the film. At the start, like when he starts explaining his master plan, they keep showing clips and it looks like wild, like shit's going down. But when it actually happens, it's like, oh, all right.
And none of it was actually a riddle, apart from the very end.
No, there's not many. Well, no, there's riddles in it, but
they didn't have to solve no riddles. They had to solve puzzles.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a riddle. They were puzzles. They weren't riddles.
Well, no, there was one riddle about the flying rat.
Yeah, that was the last one.
Yeah. So that was all right. But I don't know. Like, if I'll give my rating in a bit, but I did enjoy Pattinson. I think he did a good job with what he had. I feel really sorry for Ben Affleck that he didn't get to do a solo Batman movie. I think he deserved one. But I think Pattinson does a really, really good job. And I think he shows why Batman just didn't work in the Justice League films. Because he has to be a detective. He has to be using his brain. And Batman really didn't seem to be doing that in the movies a lot. And there's no way he's fighting toe-to-toe with Superman. That didn't make any real sense. Zoe Kravitz. Damn, I'm sorry. I know some people may not like her, but damn, she's a good Catwoman. And also, I think her and Pattinson, I think they work together. I think some of the shots didn't do them a favor, but I think they work really, really well together. And the relationship he has with Jim Gordon, quite as well. I think that worked quite well.
Going on there.
Well, I don't think it worked well. Is that like I saw a joke once about how why does Batman like show the bottom half of his face, right? Because that leaves him quite vulnerable. It's so the police can see he's white. Because if it was a black guy, no, Dave's not there. But there's just a scene
I'm
in the middle
here.
of this.
I'm just waiting to say like.
There's a scene in the
I can't
middle of
bother.
this, which it's like, I don't know. It was just weird. It was like people just the coppers seem to hate Batman, but yet they don't. They're like very. They won't take him on. And there was just a scene. It looked good. It looked like a great scene. It just made no sense in the middle of the film. But there you go. There's little moments like that make sense. Andy Serkis, I possibly think he
pointless being there.
Yeah, I don't know if they filmed more.
That made the film 20 minutes longer.
Yeah, but there was no purpose in him being there. But also his relationship with Bruce just didn't seem to gel at all. In the way that they gelled with other characters. The whole thing with Carmine Falcone, obviously Carmine Falcone made a big part in the Christian Bale, the first Christian Bale film. And seeing John Turturro in the role is a bit. I liked him, but I don't think he works in a film. Like
he's
Batman
more of a comedy bad guy normally, isn't he?
Yeah, but it was just the relationship between him and Batman. It just didn't seem to be. It just didn't seem to work for me. And also, when things Bruce Wayne, when Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne.
He was Bruce Wayne 3 times, and twice the time he had his top off for no reason.
Yeah, well, there's a reason.
Just to show a bruise, or
it just wasn't for you, Dave.
No, it very wasn't for me. Sorry.
Robert Pattinson as his Bruce Wayne doesn't come across very well for me. And the whole thing, when one of the secrets is revealed, Batman's just, one, he doesn't come across as angry enough over the whole thing, but two, it just doesn't seem like a good enough secret for all this stuff happening. But as the movie goes on, it does get a bit better. The standout performance, and I'm sure Dave might possibly agree with this, Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell was the best thing about that whole 3 hours of my life.
Cover that man's face up, and he seems able to act really,
and his body, like his accent and everything, was really good.
Yeah,
I thought he played a really good part.
He plays Oz Cobblepot, also known as the
AKA
Penguin.
the Penguin.
And they bring in there's a bar, I think it's 42 Below, which has been in the comic books a few times, and that makes its first appearance in the movies. And look, it's quite good. His performance, and he has one of the best action scenes when Batman's hunting him down. That action scene is possibly the best one in the film, because I think they filmed it using drones at various points, just the way the camera angles were. And I love the Batmobile. I don't think it would work out anywhere else, because essentially it's just a rocket engine on a car.
I really did not see the point of that rocket engine. That car with a beat in it in a straight race anyway. So what was the point of having a rocket engine and sitting there revving the shit up for like half an hour?
Come on, man. There's a one bit where it doesn't care, and it's just like
there was just no need for it. And if he had the rocket jets on, he would have caught it in like a second.
Yeah, maybe.
And he was driving it with the rockets on. It's like, come on, man.
all I know is this: is that that scene, and that's not a spoiler because that wasn't a trailer. It's been.
I don't care. I'm releasing all spoilers today. Sorry, I don't care.
Don't you dare!
I am. People should go out and watch it and not listen to me at all.
No, don't put any spoilers out.
I'm not going to ruin people's days.
Yeah, don't do that. And I think, look, singularly, all the performances are great, but there's one thing that took a lot of the enjoyment out for this film for me. And it's one thing I think, again, Dave might agree, but he'll do his little review in a moment.
I'm not doing no reviews. I told you, I'm just going to be on here on the screen and be very disappointed.
Is the length of this film. It is truly unnecessarily 3 hours long. And if you're going to have a 3-hour film, they should at least have intervals in the films like this, because that's a long time to be sat down for starters, especially in such a gloomy movie. In the dark, where you're squinting to see anything. But it's 3 hours of, waiting for stuff to happen. And I just think that sort of the amount of time
just drags and drags and drags.
Yeah, it's just too long. And maybe if I hadn't gone to see it in like at midday, it might have been a bit different. But I have to say, it was like.
Do you reckon it would have been different?
Maybe.
If you watched it at a different time?
Yeah, if I've watched it a bit later, maybe it would have been a bit
After
different.
It hit 2 hours, I was ready to walk out.
Yeah, I felt it was too long. It was too dark. It was just too dark, so I couldn't see anything. And I know they're trying to keep the feel, so it's Batman, it's dark.
Yeah, but it's too dark. You can't see what's going on.
Yeah, the film itself isn't that dark. I think the Christian Bale Batman's a lot darker. In fact, I think Tim Burton's Batman's a lot darker as a film.
Yeah, and that's completely daylight.
Yeah. But outside of that, I did enjoy it. I don't think it was a terrible film. I just think the length of time and the absolute darkness of it all is a bit too much. And I don't think the Riddler's final riddle was that great. And I have to say, there were a few moments I had to laugh. There's a clip with the penguin. I won't say the scene, but like the penguin, you see Batman's head come out from the left of the screen, and he's looking at the penguin, and I started giggling because I was like, that just looks so funny. And then there's just this thing that Batman does, and I don't know what the point, but you hear him walking in the seats.
I don't know. It's like he's wearing cowboy boots with the spurs on the back.
Do you know what you just reminded me of? This very much is like a Western. There's a few key moments where it looks like he's stepping out for a showdown, and just the way like he's the town's day, and he's had to clean it up, and it does work a little bit like a Western. The lone hero out to save people. He's got his rules.
I want to know why there's never no cars on the streets as well, apart from that one thing when he was chasing the penguin. It was full of cars. When he was riding the bikes and stuff, there was hardly any cars, and suddenly he's chasing the penguin, and there's cars everywhere.
I don't know. That I don't know. But again, as with things like that, Dave, I think it's almost like Gotham's almost like it's too dangerous. Like it's so Gotham's so dangerous, nobody would live there. Do you know what I mean? It's so it's not even mildly dangerous.
Well, I live in the Bronx in the 80s.
If you've got it's even more dangerous than that though. Like the Bronx was dangerous because there was cocaine and you could move to another part of town, or you could there's nothing good about Gotham. And I think that's also another problem with it. In finality, and like I said, I'll wait until Old Dave's had his piece, but I would say
I really don't want to say nothing.
Dave, you do.
I don't because I will spoil everything.
This is Batman as in his most superheroic. One of the issues I had with Ben Affleck's Batman is that he was so bland and so narrow-minded, the way they presented the character, that you didn't really get a sense of his heroicness as such. And you don't really get a sense of the heroicness of the Justice League, as opposed to, let's say, in Avengers, when you got them helping people, talking about moving bad guys around, protecting civilians. There's a scene when Captain America in Avengers, when he goes and saves the people being held hostage in that little cafe. With Ben Affleck's Batman, you didn't really get a sense of that. And this Batman, you really do get a sense that he's not just a hero, but a superhero. Not just because he won't kill anybody, but especially at the end of the film when he does certain things that are like, okay, he's Gotham's Dark Knight, but he cares about the people. And I think that's the first time I've seen that done in a long time in a Batman film. And Robert Pattinson, this is where I say that his Bruce Batman stands out separately from Christian Bale's, is you do get a sense of the superhero. It's not about vengeance. It's about helping people and protecting Gothamites, and that's not something I've had a lot of.
He was just a private eye working for the police, dressed in a Batman suit.
Yeah.
I've just summed it up for you in one easy sentence.
No, I disagree.
You're waffling on, but that's all it was.
No, I'm not going that hard. I'm not going in that hard on it. I think it deserves a sequel. I would say it needs to be a lot shorter.
1.5 hours.
Yeah, and they've already set up.
And some daylight.
Do not stay for a stinger at the end of the film. Don't do it. Your life's worth so much more than that. There is a stinger, but it's not that interesting at all.
It just says goodbye on a computer.
Stop it.
Well, that's it. It says goodbye. You made me wait for that fucking word.
No, there's actually a riddle in that. You just didn't notice it.
Oh right. Yeah, okay.
And yeah, just don't stay. It's not worth it. When the film ends, just
Google it.
Yeah. It's not worth it because there isn't a stinger to really speak of.
Not for all that waiting time of all the credits.
All the setup's done by the end of the film for the next film. So there's nothing you'll see that you won't, that you're going to miss out on. But there's a lot of setup for the next film. And I don't know who plays that guy who was in Eternals who played the mind controller. There he is. Barry Keoghan. He is being set up, I think, for the sequel as our well-known Batman villain, I guess. But that should be quite an interesting film.
For the 5th time.
So, is this the best Batman film ever? As the fans have been squealing across the internet. No, that to me is still Lego Batman, but. I forgot Batman. Lego Batman for me is still the best Batman film. I think
The Dark Knight's still the best Batman film.
Yeah, I think overall The Dark Knight stands out. I think this film's got some better performances than The Dark Knight, especially in terms of Selina Kyle in comparison to the first Dark Knight film. I think there's some better standout performances for sure. And the villain sort of makes a lot more sense than the one that they had in the first Dark Knight. Ra's al Ghul tried to burn Gotham. They both have a similar agendas, if you will. But I think it was a slightly.
I think they're just going through the elements in all these movies, aren't they?
Yeah. But yeah, I think The Dark Knight is still better. I think this comes in, I'd say the original Batman better. Michael Keaton for me is that one's still better than this. But
in my head, I'm thinking, when's Michael Keaton going to show up? But he's not. That was the Flash, wasn't it?
No, yeah. But I think this one over time will be recognised as one of the best Batman films. It's good.
If not, it'll be recognised as the longest Batman.
Yeah,
film.
It's just too long for my taste. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be sat in the cinema for 3 hours.
Luckily, we went a wee before we went in. Eh?
Well, it's almost 3.5 hours because what trailers before the film? There was half an hour.
Yeah, easy. But then that's not the film's problem. That's down to the cinema.
Yeah. So and Matt Reeves does an amicable job. I still think there's Warner Brothers. I don't know what their problem is, but they need to sort out the way narrative.
Daylight.
Daylight. But the way narrative's being told in their films, because there's certain points where like, what are you on about? I don't like. There's nothing worse than your audience having to sit there and go, "What are you on about?" Like there were clues that I figured out before them. I was like, "Really, Batman? Really?"
I reckon if they cut out half the waffle, this film would have been a 2-hour movie.
Maybe. Well, yeah,
they would have done because there was so much waffling. At one stage, I was looking at the ceiling, counting the squares. Because I was just getting so bored. It was either that or I was going to go to sleep or walk out. Because it was just dragging, and it's like, what the hell is going on next?
Yeah.
Like, I've never read the comics. Like, a lot of people say, oh, yeah, it's close to the comic. Well, if you haven't read it, you're like, what the hell's going on? This is like just dragging on.
From Francois Home.
There's just too much time.
No, that's fair enough.
And it was boring.
I didn't have as bad a time, but I agree.
You didn't have bad as time. You were snoring behind me sometimes.
Dave, I was not snoring behind you.
Yes, you was.
I was. Ladies and gentlemen.
You must have had a power nap then, because you were snoring.
I wasn't snoring, man. I was just breathing heavily.
And I could and all the people beside me were all like, and they couldn't sit still because they were like, I'm bored. So other that, they needed to go away.
Well, no, it's just because it's uncomfortable. That's why I sat in the VIP seats, because they're really comfortable.
My seat was comfortable.
Well, no, those seats are not comfortable seats.
But
at the cinema and the VIP.
I don't know. I just really didn't enjoy the film at all.
That's fair enough. I'm not going to hold against you. But were there any highlights for you, Dave?
Colin Farrell was a great highlight. I did like the Riddler, even though he was a bit like the scenes they do with the characters when they're like bumping them off.
Yeah,
weren't graphic enough.
Okay,
they should have been more graphic. I'd like to say how they all died, but you'll find out, and you're like, no,
horribly.
No, but it's not like you can watch like Saw or stuff like that, and it's more gruesome.
Yeah, I think.
And the way they portrayed it was going to be gruesome, but you didn't see it.
No, you didn't. You don't see any blood in this at all. I don't think.
And like when Batman gets shot in the chest with a shotgun from point blank range. Sorry,
well, you're
going to get pellets on your fucking chin.
Hold on.
You're going to get pellets on your chin from a shotgun.
No. Hold on.
His face ain't bulletproof.
Hold on. He was in a lot of pain. He struggled.
Yeah, he was in so much pain. He put an adrenaline shot on, and then he saved the world. I don't care.
Spoilers.
I don't care. Spoilers. There was no way he would get up from that.
Yeah, but it's Batman, Dave.
No, he wouldn't have got up from that. And what he did,
religiously defends Fast and Furious.
Yeah, but that's a different sort of movie, man. That's a different sort of movie to this. This guy got up from a shotgun blast to the chest. And the guy was taking so long to reload, he could have blew him up.
Well, spoilers.
I don't care. I really don't care.
I love
this
it.
film was atrocious, and it was too long. Sorry. When it comes to superhero movies, this is the lowest one in my list. I'm telling you that.
You don't need to.
I hated it.
To me.
I absolutely hated it. And I like all this sort of stuff, but this I hate. The performances and stuff were good. The story dragged on, and it's unrealistic. Totally unrealistic with some of the things that would happen to a human being. I just couldn't handle it.
That's fair enough.
And get rid of half the characters. They didn't need to be in this movie.
Who was that?
Get rid of half the characters. Why have so many characters that had no place to be there? Like you had the police officer that kept on turning up. He didn't do nothing in the whole film, but he had all these lines, and it's like, why are you here?
No, but that was to show how.
Delete him. I don't need him in there. I already know what's going on, and so does everyone else.
What you were talking about, but it was. I think that was to show that the coppers, they hated Batman, but they loved Bruce Wayne. No. Is it that one who was at the funeral? And he's like, "Hey, Mr. Wayne."
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Wayne. I was like, mother.
I don't know. I just think everything was over exaggerated of what could actually possibly happen to human beings. Everyone seemed like they were a superhero.
I'm vengeance. Who are you? I'm vengeance.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. And the way the Riddler got caught, that would never happen. You know? Just wouldn't happen.
He let himself get caught though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why stay there if you're already planning a plot to destroy the whole city? Come on. Sorry, this just I don't know. I just can't. I can't.
It really hurt you. It really hurt your feelings.
Look, we had to go for a pint afterwards because I was so distraught.
Because you're not a Batman fan.
I am a Batman fan. I've liked every single Batman apart from the Arnold Schwarzenegger one. The one with Batgirl.
To see you.
Yes, they went a bit stupid.
All right, and now okay. Then would you, when a sequel comes out?
I don't think I'd go cinema with you. I think I'd wait for it to come on Amazon.
So you've been put off.
Like I
for
said,
life.
I would never watch this film again unless I go to someone's house and they got it in the background.
Not even to see if it was just a thing. Like,
well, my fault.
Well, there's
I wasn't in
films
the right
I know
frame of mind.
Look, I know there's film you've watched again, which you hated previously.
Yeah, I didn't really like Dark Knight when I first saw it, so but I didn't hate it as much as I hate this. I didn't like The Matrix when I first saw it.
Just so you know,
some of these things take me a couple of years to watch it again and go, oh yeah, that was all right. But this one, no.
Literally, like to me, it was like almost left halfway through.
No, I didn't. This is the only time I didn't go and sleep.
I was going to leave.
I was going to leave at 2 hours because it was boring. When things happened, they happened.
I was going to leave. And
they lasted, the action scenes were like 2 minutes. And then there was a whole load of 25-minute dialogue.
Yeah.
And it was like, why? There's no need for all this jabbering on. No need for it. We already got the plot. Shrink. Like I said, Alfred was a pointless person being in the movie. He didn't bring nothing. He wasn't Alfred like all the Alfreds you've seen in all the other movies, the TV programs or anything like that.
Yeah.
He didn't even like Bruce Wayne. He liked his dad. It's... I don't know. Even when Robert Pattinson was Bruce Wayne, he was just like an emo bloody sport brat.
I was worried that it'd be a bit too much emo, but I don't think that came across in the film.
It did. You could see it. The hairstyle, the attitude, the boots, the way he was coming across. He could even Bruce Wayne always dressed elegantly. In every single program, everything you see. It's like, oh, you haven't got no cufflinks. Oh, I've lost them. You're a billionaire. You've only got one set of cufflinks. Jog on, mate. You know? A billionaire with one set of cufflinks. Oh, take these ones. Your father gave them to me. Jog on.
Because the whole point is that he's Batman, isn't he? He's more Batman than Bruce Wayne. And I hope in the next film that he becomes a bit more Bruce Wayne. Just because I think, like I said, Michael Keaton done such a good job of being Bruce Wayne back in the day. And I don't think anybody's matched that. And it'll be quite interesting because obviously Michael Keaton makes his return as Batman in the next Flash film.
And hopefully he gets the next contract.
One more outing as well. But I wish that Affleck had gotten another shot to do Batman. I just think, because his chin's perfect.
Robert Pattinson had a good chin.
His outfit,
just when he took off the mask.
His helmet was the mask was really, really good. I didn't like it when I saw the trailers, but watching it in the film, I thought it was really, really good. But that's
well, even when he takes off the mask, he's got to have the mascara on because the eyelids are too wide. I don't know. I really did not enjoy this, Curtis. I really didn't. There were some characters that were really good, like I said, and he wasn't one of them. Catwoman, Penguin, yeah, great characters. They played their parts very well.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon played, well, not Commissioner, he was Lieutenant Gordon in this one.
Jeffrey Wright, yeah.
He was really good. But the rest of
it there were moments where
there was
not a great deal of love.
But I don't want to give too much away because it's brand new. But...
Okay. Well, look, I'll just as a final note, I'd say the chemistry between Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz. I think she works really, really well. I think Pattinson does as well. I think at some point in the future, I hope she
was
back.
A detective as well, wasn't she? She wasn't really Catwoman. She wasn't stealing anything.
No, she was more the
Catwoman was a cat burglar.
Catwoman. Well, That's
the whole point of Catwoman.
No.
She was on a vengeance mission because her friend gets kidnapped.
To a degree, yeah. But she was still stealing shit. Still robbed the fair.
What did she steal?
She stole the money.
Yeah, only at the end.
Well, yeah, but she stole the money.
She didn't have to steal it, but it was just there, so I would have taken it as well.
The Dave Man. What would be your Bat villain name?
The grumpy one. Captain Grumpy. Mr. Miserable. One of them,
Mr. Miserable. I'll take that.
I'll be the Frenchman. Mr. Miserable.
The Frenchman. No, the Frenchman's fine.
I don't
know. You're not French.
I don't
Who
know.
cares, monsieur? You're not care.
I can honestly say, we went to the cinema last week and we watched Uncharted. And we both give that bad reviews.
No,
but you've read Batman comics, so
no,
you've probably got the gist of what's going on. I haven't.
Not,
so being the average person, that is, well, I wouldn't say average person because I'm 6'20".
Yeah.
But a normal person that knows nothing about all this stuff, really.
Yeah.
When it comes to like Batman comics and stuff. I've seen the TV series, films, you just sit there and enjoy it. But this was based on a comic.
Yes.
That I don't know nothing about.
Batman,
so the nerd side, love it. Because they're like, oh, this is true to fact, this is true to that. But to me, I'd like to give it my review now. I'm going to give it 2.5.
Ooh, that's so harsh. Okay, well, I'm going to give it. Look, I enjoyed this. I thought this film was really good. I think it's too long, too dark, but I don't think you'll be if you enjoyed any of the previous Batman films. I think you'll quite enjoy this. The length of time, yes, is a bit much. But I think the action scenes are quite good. I think it's nice to see a detective Batman. But this film does not need to be 3 hours long.
He's not a detective, he's a PI. He's just a dick.
He's the world's greatest detective, and you start to see the beginnings of this in the film.
Yeah, but he didn't get the clues until the Riddler gave him the answer. Come on.
You when you did
I didn't have a review. I'm just being ranty.
I think you this is a beginning. It's not an origin story, but it's a beginning, and I think it works spectacularly well on that level. You
can go with Mike next time.
The action scenes are superb, and I think this Catwoman could be going somewhere. And like I said, if nothing else, the promise for what the sequel will be is going to be something different.
The sequel should just be Catwoman versus the Penguin. No Batman, no Riddler. No, nothing else.
Next movie,
that's what they should call it. Catwoman versus the Penguin.
Next movie, it looks like you're going to get at least 2 bad guys for the price of 1. So I would say give this movie a shot. If you
I would say wait till it comes to online cinema.
If you don't like sitting around, if you don't like sitting for 3 hours, you can wait until.
No one likes it for 3 hours. Not even to go for drive up north.
It's going to be that extravagant, and I think this. It's definitely not the best Batman movie ever, but I think eventually over time it will probably get into the top 5.
Out 7, not bad.
The soundtrack alone, Dave.
As soon as I heard Nirvana, I was like, yeah, that's cool. And that was the best bit of the whole film. Kurt Cobain singing
throughout the entire movie. So give it a shot. I'm going to give it 7 out of 10.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
I'm giving it 7 out of 10.
No way. No.
And so I'll go even further. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. It loses a point.
Do you know what? I'm going to give it a 2 then, because I'm losing that half a mark just for you.
Take away.
So it gets a whole round total of 10 out of 20.
I'm getting it's
going average Joe and nerd. There you go.
It's going to lose a point for the length of time, and lose a point for how dark it was in terms of actual lighting.
And that's losing points on, yeah.
Enjoyment. Yeah.
Wow.
So
you're happy about this, then, yeah. Yin and Yang have spoken.
That's our review for the all-purpose, almighty the Batman. It's been released.
I should have called it Da Batman.
It's Da Batman. The Da Batman would have been a very good title release. So that's it. That's our review for the Batman starring Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Jeffrey Wright, Colin Farrell, and Paul Dano. Ladies and gentlemen, this was our review. This is the boys from Bossk. Have a lovely night.
And don't forget to listen to Nirvana again after that. Because Batman was shocking.
I enjoyed it though.
I didn't.
Dave loved it.
I hated it.